I just hung up the phone. I was talking to Rose. And this is hard, guys. I mean, this is hard to explain to somebody that doesn't follow the sport. Like, the strangest career in MMA on the men's side would belong to Colby Covington. Like if I tell you the Colby story, it sounds like a riddle. He was the clear number one contender who couldn't get a title shot. He was the interim champion who woke up one day and was no longer the interim champion. He defeated the BMF champion and did not become BMF champion. Like, you would think it's a riddle unless you followed the story. Hey, Rose's career on the women's side, she's had the strangest events happen to her. I mean, there's like this, for the most loved girl, you guys go crazy for Rose. She has main evented more damn shows. She is a bona fide star, a first ballot Hall of Famer, a multiple-time world champion. I swear to goodness, there is this cloud. There's like this one gray cloud, and it just follows her around. How about the night that she knocks out Joanna? There was nothing competitive or controversial about that match. They rematched it. So now Rose has to take on a girl that's 0-1 in her last performance. Like, what world champion has to do that? Okay, how about the night that she beats Wei Li? There was nothing competitive or controversial about that match, right? For an immediate rematch, there was nothing. So now Rose, as world champion, has to take on a gal who's 0-1 in their last performance. What world champion has to do that? And if we're to be real fair, we were surprised with the result. Nothing more. The reason she had to rematch Joanna is we were surprised. We looked at that, and I get it, but I do this all the time too. I get it, but we looked at that and said, that can't happen again. And then it did. So they didn't have to go to 3. But it was the same thing with Wei Li. We looked at it. We weren't pleased with the result because it was a surprise. And so we made her do it again. Like, that's just a very strange thing to do. Then the Rose's match with the Cookie Monster. Right? And there's 2 different ways to look at that match. Was that the least fighting that you saw in a fight? Or was that the hardest fight you've ever had to judge? Right? And there's 2 ways to look at that. From a competitive standpoint, that is one of the most competitive matches I have ever seen in terms of, okay, you touched her this many times, and you touched her this many times, and I've got to mark one way that, like, it was just these odd things keep on happening. So Rose goes out and fights this last weekend. And Rose jumps weight classes, which she never gets credit for. Like, the guys get credit when they change weights. I feel like that part of the Rose story that some of you have missed, but I digress. This was her 3rd time, 3rd opportunity. Hey, win this fight for a title, right? And those opportunities are hard to come by. But when you're a multiple-time world champion and I can't even count how many main events this girl's done, how many 5-round fights she signed up for. I literally would have to go, I truly can't even count. Those opportunities are a little bit more often as she goes out and competes, and I thought she won the fight and she lost the decision. I want to pick my words here because I do not want to take away from her opponent. That's just not fair. But I will share for you, when that fight ended, I was waiting for the guy in the shark suit, Bruce Buffer, to jump in there and say that Rose won, and maybe we'd hear a little interview and we get a little talk going between Rose and Valentina, and off we go. Fade to black, roll the credits. I didn't know. I will admit, like, it was a competitive fight. I gave Rose 1 and 2, and she clearly lost 3, and some of you are kind of going, well, that second round was fair enough, but when they read the scorecards, that's when I knew, okay, Rose has won. So when they announced the name, I must tell you, I was kind of taken back, and I'm looking around my living room, and my son's yelling at the TV, and it's this whole thing. And then the crowd. Our judges in the sport are very good. There's nothing more fun than to question a judge or question a referee. Like, that's a fun part of sport. But the fairness part is they're really good. the one thing that's better than a judge, if you just want to go historically speaking, you bring in boxing and MMA. The one thing that's better than the judges do get it wrong sometimes. You want to know who never gets it wrong? The live audience. I have never heard a live audience react and be wrong. I mean, I've never one time where I have disagreed with the live audience. There was 17,000 people and they disagreed with the decision. I'm only sharing with you, what do you do? I mean, what do we do now? I really don't want to relive this because that really does take away from the opponent. And that opponent had to walk in there with a Hall of Famer, multiple-time world champion. So however you get it, come hook or crook, skill or luck, if you get it, it's yours. I want to protect that side of the integrity. But I do want to ask a very hard question. What do you do now if you're Rose? If you're in a third opportunity where if you win, then you can go for a title, and all you want to do is get the title. You're not in the check cashing business. You're not in the try to get famous business. You're in the I want the belt business. What do you do? Is a fourth time to find yourself in a number one contender spot. Is that realistic? Yeah, sure it is, with a couple of wins in between. Well, a couple of wins in between, now we just kick the can down to midway through 2027 in a best case scenario. It's an interesting spot. And I spoke to Rose, and I am not speaking for Rose. I'm just sharing, when I was talking to her, that there was a pain. There was a pain that I felt as the viewer. There was a pain that she had as a competitor. It's a very tough spot. She tore her thumb during the fight. Do you guys know that? I hope I'm not sharing something that's secret. Oh, it's nasty. Oh, a tore thumb is very different than a broken thumb. Oh, I haven't had very many pains in my life. I was really lucky with injuries or moreover not having injuries. I've had the thumb. Oh, you might not think it. The thumb and the nose are like the most painful thing. At any rate, I don't know what round that happened. I don't know how much it affected the fight. She's in an interesting spot, though, and it's a tough one. And I do not believe this is the end of Rose. I'm just sharing for you that it could be. This is a really hard thing to have happen to you, particularly on a night, we got the numbers and we hear 5 million people are watching. Like it's a really hard thing to unfry that egg. So I don't know what we as a community can do. I know that you guys have stood up. I know online that you've stood up, that you've defended her. I know 17,000 people came to their feet to let them know that they didn't agree with that. But that's a nice thing. That'll get you through today. A week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, that's just the record. And then you go matchmake somebody else. And it's an interesting spot. She's found herself in a very difficult position.